is.
All right, so good morning. So what we're going to be focusing in on today is a few things. First, I want to introduce you guys to Curaytor. Curaytor is this platform we've been talking about. It's basically, for lack of a better way of discussing it, it's a social media think tank. And as part of, you know, sort of getting ready for next year, trying to develop a social media strategy. And for those people who are somewhat hesitant to social media strategies and sharing their personal lives on Facebook, oh my gosh, you don't have to. That's not necessarily what a social media strategy means. You can have a more focused business strategy. And it's been great. A lot of the stuff that I'm learning through this onboarding process that I'm going through has been getting me kind of giving me ideas to do other things, and how do we leverage and create communities or networking groups. I'm using social, Facebook, but that's certainly not the only place. There's certainly the option for doing that with LinkedIn, and they do cover some of that. Oh boy. So Curaytor is going to be, like, if you're not sure how to do something or where to do it or when to do it or what to post, they'll tell you all of that stuff. They also give you templates. They'll also, they'll make it as easy as it can possibly be. So really, I'm going to take you over to what it looks like. So this is their website, which you're going to get a link for as soon as we've started adding you. The first part of this, by the way, everyone got an email from Follow-Up Boss. That's going to be the first step in sort of transitioning, is moving our CRM into Follow-Up Boss. Follow-Up Boss is a couple of things. One, Curaytor's already gone in and added all sorts of templates and follow-up plans and emails. But Follow-Up Boss does a few key things that I think are really well above what we had originally. I can't believe that. Is anyone listening to the recording? Sorry, it wasn't timed that way. The first thing that I just learned about last night, as I've been doing through the onboarding, when you respond to somebody, it stops the follow-up plan. So you don't have to go in and stop the follow-up plan, which, if doing that, is a pain in the butt. And so it does remove that kind of vital step. You don't look like you're silly responding to someone that already responded to with a canned message, right? Second thing, it can automate text messages for you. So when you're sending, the first response to somebody is going to be, if they have a phone number, a text message. A lot more personal and a lot more likely for someone to respond to that. That's why they do it. That's why it was developed, but also to have text message drip campaigns. So those are two things that Prospect Order just didn't do. The automatic sort of suspension, and Follow-Up Boss is added in all that lead routing technology. At least they promised me it can do what the Prospect Order did. So there's a couple of reasons to go there, but. So you do want to get in, start to work with Curaytor. We're going to start moving all your leads into Facebook, into Follow-Up Boss, and from there, we're going to start having follow-up plans assigned. Part of their onboarding process is getting people switched into the appropriate follow-up plans and sorting and organizing people. That's something you're going to have to help with, obviously, with your contacts. So going through a lot of the notes, a lot of the information is going to get transferred. Not everything, though. So you're going to have to go through and make sure that people are categorized in the right place. And then our onboarding support people for Curaytor will go in and start making sure they have the right follow-up plans assigned and things like that. So yeah, there is going to be a process to this. But the more you do with it, the more aware you are and involved you are, quite frankly, the better next year is going to be for you, because this is the way to communicate with everybody. So this is that training. So you go in and you click on, and everyone will get the link, view the bundle. I can forward this to you. I think you can just enroll for free. Here you go, create an account. I have an account, so we just log into there.
And it's the website is conversion code.
It's conversion code. I'll send a link once we're ready, but I want you to kind of go through and just to be aware of this. Thinkific. I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah.
So you can see this is just those classes. What you need to be going through is the Curaytor 101 and the conversion code course. The conversion code course, wow, hard to say that, is really targeted towards what do you do when you get the lead. And I know that that's something that a lot of people struggle with, is maximizing the people showing up to the lead, the listing appointment, all the way to just getting the responses to continue, making sure you're creating value, dealing with objections, what it means to follow up. You know, we talked about that at the last meeting. It doesn't mean 1 or 2 phone calls. It means 6, 7, 8. Goes through, you know, some of the metrics or the analytics behind why you need to do that. And again, that follow-up plan is all part of that. We're adding in, like I said, this other company to do the initial contact, so you have the best chance of actually connecting with that lead and making sure that we connect with them while they're warm, you know, within 90 seconds of getting the contact. But also once they get that response, that you're following up with them and staying on top of them. That's what all this is all part of. As they talked about, you know, having a scripted, systemizable way of approaching the people and doing it very quickly are 2 really fundamental ways of making sure you maximize those transactions and turn those opportunities into money. That's what we want. We're here to make money.
What is the one-on-one course? Is that just using the system?
Exactly. So that's the onboarding for Curaytor. I have not actually even started that yet because I'm still setting up. And so that's part of why I want to get you guys looking at this over the next week, because we are going to start to set up Curaytor, and we'll actually have a new website, Boston Luxury RE. Domain I've been sitting on for a long time. So Boston Luxury RE will be plugged into this. Boston's Luxury Property is still going to be doing its own thing. So the 2 of them are going to be both feeding traffic to us. Whereas we can sort of augment the traffic. This is really focused, instead of on SEO and organic searches through Google, it's all social media links and social media lead captures. Look at their statistics. It's like 51 billion pages are looked at for social media, and 48 billion are looked at through Google. So you actually, they're very comparable in scope as to what people are looking for. So if you go through it really simple, I'll go through the code course training. You're really just gonna follow through it. You know, this is what it looks like. They typically have like a welcome. This is Chris Smith. He's the guy who wrote the program. He's I think he's the CEO and president of Curaytor. I don't know what his role is, but him and Jimmy Mackin, who you met at the roadshow, are the owners of the company. They service something like real estate companies, covering like 50,000 zip codes or something like that. They have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of ads that they have analytics on, and that's what it's really all about. It's about growing business from, if you're doing 50,000 this year, to doing 100, 150,000 next year. So really simple when you watch it. You watch
Welcome
through
to the conversion course. You are.
Oh my God, it was 12. Sorry.
Yeah. He's like 30. I think he's like 35 to 38 range.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know, so he's worked at Dotloop. He's worked at was it Quicken Loans, I think. So he's been very involved in this space for a while, and it's part of where he got into this niche. When you move through, you can click the next button. You'll see it just moves into the next thing, and then these boxes turn green. Part of the onboarding program, I need to go through, and I think Curaytor is going to be part of this. They won't activate you until you've got everything greened. Then it's not even, you know, so you have to go through this. So there's no option here. If you don't, you're going to be you're not going to be part of this. You're not going to have access to Curaytor. You're not going to be able to see what's going on. You're not going to be able to get in and try and fumble your way through it. That's just not how they they allow people to operate with their system.
It's a nice snowy weekend this weekend. If it snows, it's good.
It's a good time, yeah. I mean, now is the time where we have some time to
Yeah.
learn this technology. I mean, is anyone here the same place as I am? As much as I understood social media and the importance of it, what exactly to do with it was sort of been the struggle. Developing a plan and how to actually utilize it's always been a struggle to me. Is anyone else in that boat?
Mm-hmm.
There one person volunteering to admit it.
Yeah.
Anyone, no?
No, but you know what I think? It's like as
Come
soon
on,
as
John.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
as soon as something
Given.
hits social media and Facebook, everybody runs to do that. And then it's flooded and you're kind of like, okay, what's the next thing? And everybody runs to the,
Well,
you know, it's.
I feel like
how
I'm
do
just
you know?
learning by accident. Like I think I told you I've been like my blog, so I'll put them on my social media, and then I went to that class and they said, you know, you need to put out questions. So I put out a couple questions and like one of them, like 300 responses, people going back. Then I put this other question, I got 2 responses and I thought, okay, why was this question lame and this one wasn't?
Yeah.
And what do I learn? And so I feel like that's the way I'm learning rather than having somebody behind us who can say, we've done all the analytics, like this is what works, rather than, because that's what I'm doing. I'm stumbling trying to figure out what works.
One of the things they'll talk about in this first one, by the way, it takes about an hour to go through each module. My recommendation, I've gone through this one twice now. Go through it twice. There's just a lot to pack in. Take notes, have a new little notepad. You mentioned Sumo app. They talk about Sumo app. What Sumo app is a way to learn about what the heck people are talking about. Yeah, and it's a paid, well actually no, it's a free service for just to figure out what the top topics are. So you talk about what to blog about, what's on people's minds. Well, that's what you should ask your question about.
Right.
So it really does get into the analytics of what, and tells you the resources that they've made available to you.
Right. Is that the same as what's trending?
Might be very similar. I don't know what's trending.
at Google Trends.
Yeah.
Trends,
okay. Yeah. I'm trying to figure that out too. Yeah.
Yeah, but those are the things. So they really do break it down. So you're not just taking shots in the dark, which I think leads a lot of people not to take shots.
Right.
And beyond that, it really gets into, like you can see that for the conversion code, which incidentally was on the top. It's a book. If anyone's unaware. It's a book he wrote that kind of was the basis of Curaytor. It's on the top 15 books for business this year, from like New York Times and Forbes.
Is it real?
So
The conversion?
the conversion code. And so this is sort of the hits and the highlights of that. What are you doing? How are you bringing people in? And it is it's a little formulaic, but I got to tell you, I went through this going, yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, from someone who's been in the business for 20 years, who as an agent was converting at a really high rate, I was just sitting there going, absolutely, 100%. This was the difference. Little things like, you get off the phone, you set the appointment, great. I'm going to send you an email with my contact information, when we're going to meet, and a couple of things to keep in mind. Always did that after every phone call where I qualified someone. When I qualified someone, it was a 15 to 20-minute phone call, and then it was a follow-up email, and a lot of times it would be another call after I figured out what the heck I was going to show them to get them excited about what I was going to show them. Literally, that's what he put out there. 20-20-20 rule, they call it. He's just putting it in ways that I think are a heck of a lot easier to digest, because I tend to be too verbose and go off in tangents. So it's a way to sort of make it attainable, or just to something you can put into practice very quickly and easily. So it's minor little things that really will make a difference for how you approach things. That 5-minute phone call is kind of meaningless. And it's a reason, and I'm not necessarily looking at anyone here, but I've seen people come and go in this office because they never got an appointment. Or if they got an appointment, they never showed up. And the problem was they were doing the 5-minute phone call. The 5-minute phone call doesn't get you anywhere. You got to go through things with them, have a conversation, and create some value. Be assertive. Take control of the situation so that they're ready to come in. And I used to call it the natural course of a showing should be a deal, because you work through all the objections before they even showed up. And while you're going through showings, you're constantly looking for objections and pushing them aside before they can be objections to making a decision. So really, this has been a great little class, and I think it's a way to really attain how to move through those processes. Any questions for any of this? Really simplistic to move through. The only thing I did notice, like when you get down to some of these things, so there is a 1 hour under the bonus content. There's a 1 hour keynote speech he put in. I would actually watch this if I did watch it, to be clear. There's a lot in here that was pretty interesting. It's a keynote speech to the Chicago Association of Realtors, if I'm mistaken.
He's co-founder of
Ohio
Curaytor.
Association of Realtors. There you go. So it was really interesting what he was telling them. And this was 2 years ago, and I think much stays the same. But it also talks about little things like the concept of businesses going people to people instead of B2B or business to consumer. It's person to person, and I really believe that's pretty darn accurate. You know, if you look at it, that's what Craigslist was all about. You know, your uncle's selling to the guy down the street the refrigerator that was 20 years old but still works. You know, that type of thing has been in play. Now it's getting to the point where it's people selling their houses to people that are looking to buy their houses directly. People sell, you know, and the models that are out there. If you're looking at it from a threat assessment to real estate, companies like Zillow or some of these other businesses that are trying to create a way for people to buy real estate without an agent, that's sort of where real estate, the tech companies want to take it. NAR wants to get ahead of it, in the sense that we don't really, you know, and I think hopefully most people in the office agree, this isn't that's like trying to have the internet sell you, or the internet cure your cancer. I mean, it's a technical situation. There's a lot of moving parts. You don't know what you don't know. And the inner workings of a deal are not something that can be systemized. You still need an agent in the transaction, bottom line. So, but somewhere along the line, there's going to be a balance where a lot of this is person to person, but there's an agent in the middle to facilitate the transaction, or two agents in the middle to represent each party, because they want that service. Which is why even as and this has been the threat going back since MLS started going online, and then, oh my gosh, they started sharing their data with the customers, and then they started sharing their data with Truly and Zillow and other places, the public-facing MLSs, and all of a sudden, everybody knows what's out there. Well, we know that there's a lot of misinformation. There's still a process out there. We haven't gone away in the last 20 years. I don't think we're going away in the next 20 years, because we still add that value. But how do you get in the middle of that value to be that conduit for the person-to-person communication?
It's just like with lawyers when they say, you know, if you represent yourself in court, you have an idiot for a client or something along those lines.
Yeah. And so it's absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's a profession, but it's gonna. What I think ultimately this means for real estate is the practitioner, the agents, need to be more professional. They need to have more knowledge. They need to understand the intricacies of the transaction, because that's what people are hiring you for. It's not for access. It's not to see a property. It's to get them through a transaction that's usually more complicated than you would think. So yeah, so definitely you're gonna want to watch that. There are a few things here that I found. Oh, they're coming up again. Yeah, so some of the slides you have to kind of ask for. I haven't gotten yet. There's a couple of things, but for the most part, everything's in there. Gives you samples of some of the email templates up here, buyer and seller scripts. But when you get to the bonus content, don't worry, there are a few of these things that don't click through. Oh, and when you do finish this, I think you get a little, you get a little certificate that you can print out and put your name on it. So once you get everything green, you become a social media master or whatever they call it. So you get something you can always utilize to tell people that when you're marketing yourself, that I have an accreditation from Curaytor. People look up who Curaytor is. They're the guys who know social media marketing. So there is some weight there. It's kind of fluffy weight, but it's there. All right, so that's Curaytor. We'll get you I'll send you out the links. Hopefully by the end of this week, on Friday, I'll be able to just get all your account information together. So you can go in, or I guess just make sure that I'm doing it the right way when I share the link to you guys. You just go in and create your own accounts. All right, so Any questions so far with this stuff? What's coming?
I'll be doing.
So follow-up boss is officially on time. It's officially taking over for prospect.
My goal is to have the transition done by the end of the month. Yep. I'd like to stop paying for prospect. It's expensive. I'm paying for two right now. We're just going to make some minor changes for now. We really the only thing is the uploading of the documents, I believe. No, I don't want to use that because I don't like that platform in general for deal management. But I think what we'll do is you can, in follow boss, you can still record the transaction. The whole point of what I was trying to get you to do in Prospect Converter is record the transactions. We had analytics behind what we're doing. Here's a little problem. Prospect Converter is really bad at their back end of people's reports we're getting because how deals were created was not reporting properly. If it was put in as a listing instead of a transaction, or there was a third group, I forget what it was, but it was just.
Yeah, mine's been screwy. Every email I get is now like a new contact.
It's driving me nuts. So part of it is they just have too many kinks. I don't think they're big enough to work for them. The biggest thing I always loved about Prospect Converter was the fact that I could route leads and the technical aspect, and now everybody's doing it, so it's time to jump ship anyway. Before I knew that Curaytor was partnered, it had basically adopted Follow Up Boss as their CRM of choice. I was already in the process of trying to find us a new CRM because it's just too many hurdles. And as I walked around the NAR convention floor, everybody was telling me they could do everything we wanted them to do. I spent 4 hours walking around the convention floor. Have you ever done that before? It's like pain. It's minor torture. But I had a list of questions I was walking up to each person. I was like, all right, you got 5 minutes. Tell me if you can do these things. And how you do them. Show me.
And you get bags of junk.
Yeah. Oh, no, I take pictures.
How many different software?
I probably went to 7 different CRM vendors, and that, and that was only part of what I was looking at. But yeah, so I was looking at a lot of different companies.
Was HubSpot there? Or
HubSpot wasn't there. They're more of a digital marketing resource. But it does seem like they're starting to get into the CRM game. There was something I saw for. They haven't provided the platform as much, but now they're really starting. They were more Boston-based company, top of the list for digital marketing. And what does that mean? Like you Google something, and all of a sudden you're getting those ads, those banner ads all over the place, that type of stuff. And that's a simplified version of what they do. It goes much further than that. All right. So the next thing, we've got the Facebook. So part of doing this is just getting yourself settled on Facebook. Over the weekend, I sent out that email. Hopefully everyone read it. We started the Boston Laundry Department Deal Finder page. This comes right out of that idea of person-to-person thing. And granted, it seems a little counterintuitive because we're giving people access to potentially other landlords, and I was trying to get property managers to join. I don't know if we necessarily want them or need them, to be honest with you, but what we really want to do is give people a refined place. When I say refined, focus place to find the best deal. I mean, if you're a consumer and there's 15 different apartment buildings, you don't know which one to look at, and all of a sudden there's a group that's just telling you which one's got the best deal. I tend to think that's something that's going to catch on pretty quickly. We need to seed it with information. So if you haven't already, you need to accept my friend request. I think there's still a few people out there that haven't. How do you get to, you're going to, and then when you accept it, go search for Boston Luxury Apartments Deal Finder. In mine, it comes right up at the top of the list, but I think it's because I'm a member of it. And ask to join. I'll add you, and I'll make you a moderator, so that you have some standout, some distinction within it. See, we got 23 members. Basically, I put some of my non-Boston-based agent friends in there, and a few people that I knew would kind of be interested and might be looking for a place. So I automatically added them in there just so they could see it, just so they could kind of see the experience for non-competitors. And this is really the strategy of it. If I go to the about, it really gives you a good description of what we're trying to do here. It's a place for apartment seekers to find the best deals and luxury apartments in the Boston, Brooklyn, Cambridge area, right? Keep in mind, offers are only considered for viable. So if you post an ad, it's only good for 24 hours from the post date. Why did I do that? One, I wanted to create urgency. Two, because that's what most of our landlords tell us. It's only good for 24 for that day, right? So I thought it worked really well from both sides. Want to make sure apartment seekers are encouraged to utilize it. So feel free to make requests to the community to help you find the best offers. Goal there is, if you're following this group, you're going to be able to know if someone's interested in a place. Wanted to encourage if they're breaking their lease and they have authorization, but not for roommate situations, because sometimes you get a really good deal on the end of somebody's lease. So they have a 15-month lease, they got 8 months left on it. They'll subsidize it $1,000 a month just to get in there. So, and a lot of the buildings are okay with that, just so they don't have to deal with it on their sheets, which is kind of a new thing because it wasn't always that way. Certainly made sure that they knew it was us, because we have to make sure that they understand this is a service of DLP, and to contact you guys for assistance with any listings or properties if they're looking for a deal. We also want to make sure that renters don't pay anybody. Just a couple of simple things to keep it as legitimate as possible, unless they verified the property in person, right?
That's a great line.
Yeah.
That's a great line.
Or contact you guys if there's questions, because you're authorized people that are considered the ones who should know.
Because there have been issues where people overseas are paying for apartments that don't
Absolutely.
exist. Yeah, that's a great line.
And then landlords and managers, only give us a list of everything in your building.
Oh yeah.
We only want the best apartments you got. So I started off yesterday. If you look in discussions, I just to put a sample up and test it. This was the cheapest 2-bedroom that had a month free at Garrison Square. So they gave me the pictures were in the email. It came in yesterday. I was like, great, I'll just put something up. A few things you'll notice when you have more pictures, it encourages people to click through, which is always good. Mm-hmm. But this group is a place where you can actually post information about something for sale. So you can see the option here is sell something. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if I click on sell something, here, what am I selling? 1 bed or back day, 1 bed, 1 bath. Available now. Most of them should be available now because it's the best deal. That's probably the ones that are, whatever it is, 2,500. Here you can tag it with the zip code, so when there's people are searching, it's in there. Put a description in. You can put that as much or as little as you want. Really doesn't matter. You probably want to highlight in the subject though what the deal is, right? So part of my formatting was.
And this is sell something, not rent something.
Well, again, the term is sell something. We'll get there in a second. You can add your photos. You can describe the place. And if you'll notice, the option here is marketplace. So this is where it's going. By default, it'll always check off marketplace. Now, if anyone read my email, I mentioned to you there's basically Craigslist for Facebook, the marketplace, which has a category, properties for rent and properties for sale, that have almost no listings in them. And all I can tell you is if Facebook's got it in there, they're probably going to find a way to utilize it. And they have the largest audience, I think, on the planet. So they're going to figure out how to get out to a lot of people. So you might as well, if you're going to post the listing in here, post it to the marketplace. So you make sure you click that. It's gonna hit 2 places in one shot. You click the post button. I'm not gonna actually do that just because I'll show you. Insert an emoji. So really, and then that's all it is to it. I mean, it's really kind of simple, right? I'm not gonna post that because there's nothing there, but I will show you. So now I've got this ad posted, and it posted in the marketplace. But to make sure that it's in the right category, and you can do this all in one shot, click on your home button, and then on the left you'll have the marketplace. right? And here's things I'm selling. Here it is. I can edit this item under manage. And what you'll see is here's the tags. So I added the tag property rentals. But if you start typing property, and that I think is the problem. It's not apartments for rent, it's property for property rentals. It's that tag, which makes, kind of throws people for a loop, I think, because do you ever look at, does anyone ever search property rentals? I know I don't. Which is, so they'll fix that, probably that tag, but that's how you find it. So click on property rentals, now you got the right tag. So you don't have to repost, you just have to clear up the tags after you post your ad in the Facebook group, and now it's going to be in the correct order. So now if I go back here, property to rent in Boston should be in this list somewhere.
Well, there is nothing.
Yeah, there really is nothing.
What's that?
One would like to think it's in there. Not sure I see the picture. Well, there might be some bugs to still figure out here, but that's essentially price category Boston 2 miles. Oh, there it is. Maybe it has to go multiple tags. Do you see it this time?
Mm-mm.
Those bastards. It was up there yesterday. Well, we'll figure out why that is. But that's kind of interesting. We do know it's supposed to be in the marketplace. So we'll figure out the details as to why that's not working, but that should be where it's showing up. The goal here with going back to the group, because that's really the focus, is once we have the group there, what we can start doing, go back home, and then Boston your apartments. So what we can do is we can actually we can share these posts on, or we can create a post on our personal pages. What the company will be doing is creating a post on our business page, targeting this group, a link back to this group, using one of the posts, using one of the properties for sale. And we're going to start doing social media advertising for this group, as well as invite the roughly 10,000 people we have on our mailing list to join the group. My feeling and my gut is that, as long as we execute correctly, the emails like, getting ready for next year, make sure you find the best deals before you renew, type of thing.
Right.
People will start to see what their options are out there. If you were about to renew your lease, don't you want to know if you get the best deal? It's kind of a no-brainer. All you have to do is sign in and join a Facebook group to find out what's being posted. I think it's some of those things that, to me, just the link is there.
Right.
I just see this growing really quickly because it's what everybody's looking for. They want the best apartment for the best price. That's the bottom line. And this sort of accomplishes that. So hopefully we'll get a lot of response. If we can get this growing to a certain point, as the moderators and administrators of this group, we actually have a cool little function. So we can send messages to the entire membership that you can't do if you're a member of the group. So we can literally go and blast people with services through Facebook Messenger. And that's going to be where I think we start to be able to go shop this to buildings we want to get the exclusives on and say, we've got 10,000 members that are all looking for luxury apartment deals. We're the only ones that has that exposure. You want to, there's a very focused group. We can hit them and we can hit all of their friends because they're part of our network now. So this is how we get into that. That becomes a marketing strategy. In the way I look at this, getting back to Curaytor and social media, becoming social media savvy and becoming really what I want to become is the social media experts for real estate. That's where the millennials are living, and that's who the buildings are being built for, right?
challenge is millennials aren't on Facebook.
Yes, they are. They're not only on Facebook. They
Okay,
use
but
other
they are
things.
using
Almost-
Facebook, are they?
Does anyone have a millennial that's doesn't have a Facebook page?
I have three.
No Facebook page.
I have three of them. They do.
My son
Snap.
doesn't either. He's
They
20,
do.
they don't.
Yeah, my three
Okay.
kids, millennials, they go from 18 to 34, and not one of them has Facebook. They use Snapchat. They use
Instagram.
Instagram,
Okay, so Instagram's
Tweet,
marketing to them.
Twitter.
So-
But they don't use Facebook.
So we're getting them on Instagram. We could be getting them on Twitter.
I think Facebook owns Instagram as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
They
okay.
reach.
yeah. And we could be, you know, did you say WhatsApp? Not WhatsApp. What was the other one?
Snapchat.
You just said it.
Snapchat.
Snapchat, yeah.
So Snapchat, you know, that's another frontier to conquer.
Internationals use a lot of WhatsApp.
WhatsApp, yeah.
But how
I
many
think we can be
millions are on
Right.
Facebook?
And if you're there, I mean, well, there are people that aren't going to be. I'm actually surprised. What I've been hearing from most people is even if it's not what they use, they have it. They
Okay.
still go on there before they go searching.
Okay.
They're still utilizing it, even though it's not their primary. They're communicating with their friends through other means.
Right.
They still have a Facebook page. That might be changing.
Yeah.
Um,
You know, my son would say, Mom, it's for people your age. Like, they don't want to do
That's
anything
my
that's
son.
associated with
My son
an older
says the same
generation.
thing.
Yeah.
He says the
Interesting.
same thing.
Yeah.
So this might be something to replicate on other platforms, especially as that shift is happening. I know, for example, I created this Dogs on D for Seaport dog
I
owners.
saw that.
Just put out an email to my building, had about 10 people sign up. So it was one of those things where I've had it for 5 days. I just kind of randomly started it. The goal there was to get all the people in the area who have dogs into a group that I could theoretically market to in the future. And they're renters or owners in an expensive neighborhood. And they, you know, there's something to connect over. But that's the type of thing where how do you market to them? How do you connect with them in a way where you're building an audience organically and you're creating value organically, or you're creating a place to share or whatever it is, and then utilizing that as a business feature, because that's what you're really trying to look for. At the end of the day, we want to make money out of this. So it's not necessarily going out and, while there is a strategy to have a personal page and interact with people and make sure you stay top of mind with them, there are other strategies that are focused more on the business aspect, which is also where people want, you know, Facebook wants us to be doing business on the business pages and through groups. So, yeah, so what I would want to ask you to do, go out, start posting some ads so I have something here so that when, you know, I need it's a group effort, everyone to post their favorite 5 deals out there.
Okay.
We'll have 40, 50 posts. Now I can go off and send that invitation hopefully before the end of the year. And when people look into it, there's something for them. They see a pattern, they see a history, they see that it's something being utilized. Also, I'm still a fan of let's invite the property managers to connect with us. Because why? Because they start to see value in this, and then we threaten to take the value away by maybe banning them from the group if they don't give us you know, if they don't make us
like the Nordblum's invitations who are old school.
yeah.
Sounds like strong arming.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
If you've got an audience of 10, 20, 30,000 people, you can strong arm me. I got the people you want.
That's right.
Sure, no.
It's working for you. You know, you're all those vacant, those ones, you know, I look at this as the place where if someone is looking for something, if I'm a landlord and I've got 15 apartments I need to clear, and I just drop 5 of them on here at really good prices just to get them rented, I know they'll be gone in 2 or 3 days because there's 10, 20,000 eyes on it and people are sending it to their friends.
Right.
I mean, all of a sudden that value is something that people really start to value. And now we're offering a resource that they can't just immediately duplicate. So it's a really strong, it gives us something, it gives us a real focus to actually get our, you know, more than just wedge our way in, kind of blast our way through. So anyway, please just get involved. If you haven't approved my friend request, approve it. Same thing, by the way, guys. On each other's pages, this gets back to it. We've got to be supporting each other's business pages. If you have a business page, send an email to everybody. Let us know so everyone can follow it. That may make some people nervous about notifications. It's really simple. If you're following a bunch of things. So, for example, if I'm following a group, I can choose to have only certain posts, all highlights, friends posts, and suggested posts. Okay, only friends posts, so people you know within the community that you're friends with, or all posts, or you can turn it off. Right.
This is for your own page for other people who are
If
coming.
you're looking at another person's page and you're following it, so let me go to. So A Street Dog Parks is another one. This isn't something I started, but so if I don't want to hear from everybody every time that they post, I can just turn it off.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I didn't know
Right.
that. That's a good idea.
So let me go back to, for example, let me go to a group, a business page here.
Was that the MSPCA?
No,
Right on
no,
Tremont?
this is on A Street.
Oh my God, they all look alike.
Yeah, see, separated.
I know, I read that. Oh my gosh.
There's a 3.5-month-old not a full mastiff, a Great Dane, and behind them's a little pug.
Oh.
They're all black and white.
That's cute.
Let me go to a business page here. So if I went to Coolidge Corner Community, for example, so this is a business page, not a group. Oh no, that's the group. There's two versions of this. All right. Oh no, it's a linked group. Sorry, so there's a group. So same thing here. If I don't want to know about every post that everyone's putting up, you can turn it off. So we can be following each other without getting our inboxes flooded with emails every time something happens.
Yeah.
And we need to help each other grow our businesses. It's really simple. All you have to do is send out your business page and have everybody follow it on follow it and join it on Facebook. One of our others. Oh, sorry. Here you go. Yeah, I thought that looked weird. So you'll see on a business page it says following. We were on a group. All you have to do is on the down arrow. You can follow it, but you can say notifications all off. You don't have to be notified every time something happens.
So there's two, I'm sorry, I'm stupid. There's two different, there's a group and there's a business page. So the group came from the business page?
This guy created a group and a business page.
Oh, you created two. Oh, okay.
But that's it. So if we go to Signer Property Management, for example, and this is one I asked you guys to all follow the other day. Hopefully you have. If you don't want to be notified of updates on this page, just click all off. So business page under following, just click all off, but follow it and like it. Okay, why? Because it's going to create greater relevancy on the page, and we're trying to capture more people. Same thing if we go to, of course, I got to go to a different place. Boston's Luxury Apartments, our business page. Got to be following and liking the page. To go through like a roundabout way to get to it. So under following, just same thing. Turn all off.
Okay.
Easy enough. But just make sure you're liking and following it. Really simple thing. We got to support each other. It's a punch list.
Why did you make two, Greg? I don't understand that.
Or what?
The Brookline community.
I think one, I forgot why I made two.
Yeah, we might want to shut down the group because I think it is confusing, but that's something we can chat about it. Somebody noticed we should probably discuss and clean up that process.
Not that that's what I meant. I just didn't understand why it was two.
So don't forget with your group. Oh, so we're going to follow each other. You've got to have, thinking about yourselves and your business. Here's a place, Linda started a group. What do you have, 300 people in it now? Kind of organically?
Yeah, it was difficult to start, but yeah, I started with the.
So highly focused group, 300 people.
Very focused.
What was their focus?
Boston medical residents.
So each of us should be thinking about who's my target, who's my preferred target, and create a group for it and start inviting people to it. All you need to invite someone to your group is their email address. So let me go back here. So if I go, for example, to Dogs on Beat, all I got to do is just start adding emails. And just, so if you have a list, you just add it in, and you'll start inviting people to join your group. So it takes a little bit of time. I don't know of a way to bulk upload it, an email list. It might exist, but it was, I mean, really, if you've got 200 people to invite.
Like an export.
Yeah, I don't know there's an easy way to do it. You can get the list.
Yeah.
I don't know how to import the list into Facebook to automatically invite all those people, but it isn't that hard. You copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. It's the quickest thing ever to just go through it.
Let me see the picture. No, that, go down.
Oh, fun.
So it'll be a Facebook generated email that'll be automatic sent out to them.
It's just gonna be an email inviting them to the group, right? So you can just start doing that. You may want to take that list and take it a step further before you invite them. Say, hey, I just want to let you know I've started a group for this. I'm going to be sending you out an invite. There's actually ways, which we'll get into soon. I started to find how do you embed that join button into the email.
Right.
So we'll start to take it a step further. There's a whole bunch of developer tools. One of the coolest ones I just figured out, by the way. So Signer Boston is the property management website. I was able to embed our Facebook page on the home page, which I think was pretty cool. So I've been doing this. But there's all sorts of things, embedding the like and the follow button in your emails. So in your email signature, you can have your business page, you can have a like and follow. I'm assuming there's the same thing for groups, join my group type of thing. So it gives you a way to start utilizing what you're already doing. I talked before, your signature is a place to market yourself. Trying to tie in your signature into marketing, into your social media strategy. So everything's sort of firing for you. You know, it takes setup to get these things done, and it takes an investment in time to set up. Beauty is once they're set up, they sort of do their thing for you for the most part. A lot of us here have RLS 2000 to support our business pages. You know, so RLS should be posting your business page, and then also doing your LinkedIn, and also doing your YouTube, and also doing your Twitter and Instagram. That's what they do, right? So they're helping seed that information. You're filling in the blanks. You're you're engaging with people in your group, and more personalized things. But these are all people for you. This becomes your way of growing your sphere of influence, staying in touch in front of your sphere of influence, and using other people to help you. You know, the social aspect, using the people who are part of your sphere of influence to help you grow your sphere of influence. And that's where the augmenting factor comes into play. So one of the things I think you really need to do over the next week is think about what's a good group for me to target. You know, what's something where's a niche that I can focus in on. You know, out of that, by the way, and I again sent this in my email, came the Boston Condo Exchange. I'm still working on developing it. I could come up with a title, but the idea here was really simple. Exactly how we started this conversation. How do I become the intermediary for the buyer and the seller? If I just put them together and then remind them they need my help, I thought that was a pretty simple way to do it, because a lot of them will start seeing things and will start interacting with each other. But then they might get to the point where they actually want to do the transaction, and they need some help with that process, or they're not finding what they want online. So, you know, more often than not, the reality is they're probably not going to find what they want in that group. But now I know they're an active buyer, and now I know they're an active seller. You know, and so now we have buyer and seller leads or transactional services. We're kind of hitting this in 3 different ways, and we have that whole list of people. So really interesting how you can utilize a group to kind of have the people in the group do the work for you, and you just try, and then you focus in on becoming a service to them for money. Any questions with any of that? Does anyone have any ideas for themselves if they want to share them? Great, as to what you think you could target as a group for yourself. That you don't want to share, or you just don't want to, you don't have an idea?
I'm still thinking.
I'm more than happy, end of today, so I got a little bit of window. Tomorrow I've got the MAR Board of Directors and installation pretty much all day, but Friday, Monday, you want to call over the weekend to brainstorm a little bit, come up with some ideas. I know, Linda, you've got one. I get a couple, actually, you've got one. Put some focus behind them. And try, you know, you have, I think both of you have, but start to utilize those, think about how do you create business out of those groups? What's the strategy for turning this into a money-making endeavor? Because we're not just trying to do this to do it. We're trying to do this to generate transactions and use the social side of social media to help you grow your audience, right? But you know, for example, Richard, I told him he needs to watch. You know, he has class today, but next semester he's a little more free time, and that's where he really wants to start getting back into business. I mentioned you got to have an MCPHS group. You know, MCPHS housing group. You know, invite all your friends from your classes. They'll invite other people. Post some listings up there that are targeted towards being convenient for those people, that are good deals for his classmates. And that group will kind of help him build his own business. Really simple. So that's the kind of thing. If you want to do Longwood residents, if you wanted to do BU students, if you want to do Northeastern students, schools of the Fenway, Wentworth, you know, Suffolk, Emerson. I mean, there's so many targets to even think about. BC professors, I don't know, sell Newton houses to people. You know, it's what you want to be focusing in on is really where you need to be going with it. Yeah. Any questions so far? All right. I do want to come back to the Boston Condo Exchange in a minute, but I did want to show you actually how to boost your group, right? How do you, once you create a group and you have your business page set up, what are you doing to actually draw attention? And that's where the kind of the magic happens, because you invite your people. We talked about that. Inviting your people is as simple as just clicking right here, add members, and putting their email addresses in. It's not that everyone, you all figure out how to get that email list out. You know, if you can't, if it's in Prospect Converter, it's super simple. If you just have an address booking, a copy and pasting, that's easy, spreadsheet. But how do you promote these things? I mentioned it before. Well, really simply, I'm going to go to Boston's Luxury Apartments. No, I want my business page. So I'm going to go to Boston's Luxury Apartments. Here you go. And just like you would with anything else, you're going to post. You know, you start with a post if you want to boost a post. So, you know, looking for the best deals on luxury apartments. Check out our new Boston luxury apartment. So, deal finders, group banks. We feature only the best deals in the luxury buildings. Yeah. So something of that nature, right? Before I publish it, I'm going to want
to add an image. No one clicks on anything without an image.
Yeah,
I've learned that.
So what I'm going to do is actually go to the group. Because I'm set up as a business, BLP is set up as a business page, it's kind of annoying. I have to move between business.luxury, business.facebook and Facebook. I'm going to go to that group. Boston Luxury, here you go. I'm going to copy the URL for it. You know, just Control-C, copy the URL. Go to the post. There it is.
So explain to me what's that doing? That's taking all your.
I'm promoting the group on the business page.
Okay.
Now, why am I doing that? Because now I can click boost post, and now I can advertise that post. And so that post is going to show up in people's news feeds and people's, you know, the sidebars in their Instagram pages everywhere, and it's going to, you know, and you can set the budget. We might set it higher than we want. Always make sure you're turning on your pixel. I must be posting it as me. Cancel motion. Posting boss launching properties.
So that takes your group. Explain this to me.
So this is going to now, if I were to post this, and I don't want to because I don't want to invite people yet.
Yeah.
What I've done is I've created a post.
Yeah.
Here's the
yeah.
cancel promotion.
Yeah.
I've created a post.
Yeah.
I've put a link to the page, to the group page.
Yeah.
So people can click on it.
From
now
your business.
From the business page when I post it. But on my business page, I can boost the post. I can advertise the post.
Okay. So you have two different Facebook pages going on here.
I have a group and a page.
Okay.
I'm advertising my group on my business page.
Okay.
And then I'm boosting the posts.
Right.
So that everyone can see it, not just my page followers.
Right, but outside of that.
But people who have interacted with us, or I could just do a demographic.
And if you didn't do that, your group would not see this unless they clicked on your business page.
Again, you got to keep in mind what you're talking about. Your group has nothing to do with this. We're advertising the group.
That's
Your
what
group's
it
not
is.
going to see it.
Okay.
It's being posted on your business page. Your business page, people are going to see it.
Okay.
Right? It's a link to your business, to your group from your business page.
Okay.
Make sense? We're trying to figure out how do we advertise the existence of our group to invite people in to see the place so that it can grow. So it's not just growing organically, but it's growing with some paid advertisement.
Is that why Greg made two different?
I don't think so, because it's actually a group. We've been utilizing excuse me, it's actually a business page. The Coolidge Corner Community is a business page, the one we've been utilizing.
Right.
The group, I think, was probably you just added.
Yeah, I forgot what I did
Yeah.
there exactly.
And my feeling is that's actually probably more like you could create
I
some
was looking for one to invite members, and the other one was just a page. And I think
So I think the Coolidge group, the group, if it was replaced with like Small Business Alliance or Best Deals, you know, the Coolidge Corner Best Deals, and it was a group sort of sponsored by the business page, might have a better ring. It's something we can talk about, but I think that's just confusing you right now.
Yeah, I'm with
So
the group.
what you need to be focusing in on, you have groups where people share information with each other. It's a less formal than a business page where they're posting on your page.
Okay.
It's an exchange of ideas.
Okay.
The business page is a place to post relevant information for people to comment on what you post, and maybe they post their experiences with you, but it's a more formal place to post. Groups tend to grow more organically faster, right? Business pages tend to be more focused, and you kind of have to work at it a little bit more.
Okay.
So the reason we're doing this is we're kind of creating a group, a social network within, you know, that you can market to. That's not necessarily people focusing in on your business page, because they tend to grow quicker and they give you a bigger exposure. Understand the difference? But what this allows you to do again is just to advertise it. So take, for example, your group. You could take that group and put a post on your Linda Sable Realtor page, your business page, link it to the group,
Okay.
and boost that post to people who are interested in graduate school.
Okay, got it.
Say, hey, if you're looking for information on housing if you just are coming for graduate school, or if you're here for graduate school and you're looking for housing ideas, or want to talk to people about housing in Boston who are in the program, here's a group for you to share.
Okay, I got it.
Right. It's a because it's a closed group, not everyone can see the posts. So people feel more comfortable posting there.
Okay.
right? And that's part of it too, is that, you know, it almost has like this veil of privacy. It's not really, but because anyone can join, they ask you, you're probably not going to say no.
Right, right.
On the other side, as an admin, you have to sort of put the rules in place, like we've talked about, to make sure that anything that's not following the code is getting ousted, and that you're encouraging people to self-monitor and tell you about those issues, so you can kick those people out.
Yeah, so the group had other realtors coming into the group
Yeah.
to advertise, so I had to delete a bunch of.
Did you finish doing that?
I deleted most of them,
Yeah.
yes. And then I forgot what you had said about putting at the top on how this, but
Yeah.
how to stop them from doing that. I'm not really sure how to stop them.
You can't really stop them
Right.
except to put a terms.
Well, you don't have to let them in a group, right?
There are multiple ways. That's a good question. So if we go to, let me go back to Facebook, to the group.
Yeah, you could just deny them permission to join the group.
Each individual person, but other people are still, I've denied them and kicked them out.
Yeah.
And then what happens there?
Then another realtor will come in and post something.
So let me click on edit.
So,
Let me show you a couple of things. First of all, if you click on your about, this is where you're going to set the rules,
okay,
the terms of service, so to speak, the terms of use. So that's one place. The second, so that's gonna define what is expected in the group. All right. When you click on the more button, you can hit edit group settings, and this is where you're going to be able to determine membership approval. Anyone in the group can approve somebody, or only admins and moderators can
Or
approve somebody.
posts, or who manage
Yeah,
give
but if-
permission to who posts.
if you hit
Permission.
anyone in the group can post, I mean.
No, can approve members to the group.
Oh, can approve members.
Right.
So you
So
want to be the only one approving members, right?
depending on what you're looking for, if you're looking for growth, you may want to ease off that till you hit a certain threshold.
Because
And
people
then
are
add
coming
it
in from, you know, all over the place, and if they see that there's a block to come in and they can't get in,
There's always a block in a closed group. The question is, I'm Jane, at Harvard Medical. Can I approve my friend Joe? Or do you have to approve Joe when I invite them? That's the difference. Who is the block, you or is the block Jane?
okay, so only admins and monitors will be me,
Would be only you and Andy.
right?
However, if you have it like this, and the reason I have this right now is anyone, because I just want anyone in the group to be, I want to see growth. So when you're in a really growth mode, you might want to go only, basically anyone can allow it.
Right, and
But
it's,
it does mean more maintenance on your end. If you see anybody doing anything,
yeah,
yeah. But it also means you really got to set your rules here in the about. Actually, if you just hit that, if you
How
so,
are people
can I
utilizing?
just finish for a
I'm
second?
sorry.
If you hit the more, edit group settings, which is where I'm at,
Yeah.
you can actually edit the description right there as well.
now can you say in your Facebook terms are, this is a personal
See whatever you want.
business and
So
no
this
other
is-
realtors are allowed to post on this site, can it say
Yeah.
that? Okay,
But use the word real estate agents.
real estate agent, yeah, okay.
You can put your rules can be whatever they want as long as they're not discriminatory. Go ahead.
Can you, are you getting business from the site?
Yes,
Okay. You
Yeah.
are.
yep, yeah,
How
slow, it's slow, you know, it's taken, this was a group very difficult to get into. I made the Facebook page, but I couldn't collect the medical personnel in. They were closed. You had to have a medical background in some of the groups in order to pull in some of the people. That's how, so my resume, Andy had put a whole description of my resume about working in the hospital and everything, access to another group, and he pulled that group in, which was over 200 people, and then it started to get more and more. But a lot of the groups don't want the advertisement of realtors. They don't want, it kind of worked out that I had a medical background for it.
Right, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's an example.
That was the largest group, but
Yeah. And it's an example, but there is, it's timing part of it. So for Linda's group, for example, they're not really looking for apartments for another 2 months. But that's where you're probably going to start to see the payoff.
yeah, and I've had a few stragglers come through, and a few, I have a friend, can you can you,
Right.
so,
You know, this is
It's new to me.
depending on what your group is. In Linda's group, the goal is more to be the expert in the group, answering everybody's questions, so that when it's time to for their friend for them to find an apartment, for their friend to find an apartment. They've already thought of her because she's been helping them along the way, right?
Yeah, it's
And
more
to
of
use them
awareness.
to say, hey, if you have any questions, Linda's been great. Just go talk, join the group.
It's been more of an awareness, and I want to branch it out to kind of, drop it off at maybe some of the medical centers.
Right.
Here's a group that's helpful, instead kind of going around that way instead of kind of using social media.
So, I use kind of as a counter example. I see some of these agents out there have created apartment groups. There's Dylan Curaytor has like 20,000 members, whatever, for Boston Apartments or something like that. Except it's every real estate agent posting ads, and people are looking, and everyone's contacting me. I don't see how he's converting that. I don't see the value in what he's doing there. I may be missing it, but it seems like if you're just if it's a place to promote your apartments,
Right.
You're promoting everybody else.
he must have something he's doing, but he's not capturing it the way that we're talking about. That's why I don't see how he's getting the benefit, other than to say maybe he's utilizing the fact that he can message all the people in the group.
Right. Right.
But then again, is anyone a member of that group?
No.
What is it? Colin something?
Your Boston apartment. This is a different one. There's a few of these. Publish ad now about $1 billion. So this is someone else. Who's this guy? Sharon.
W the Rich.
There you go. So this is another example of one of these groups. It's funny, I always have somebody's.
So how many
It's a
members
Fonza
he's
member.
got?
Number
18,000?
2.
Yeah, there you go.
18,000 people?
So he's got 18,000 people. So have you ever gotten messages from this guy?
No.
Right. So again, that gets back to me. I don't understand what he's doing with it, because if he's not direct messaging you to try and market to you, if he's not creating any value out of it, it's a great idea, but the execution's missed. We need to, the goal when we're setting these things up is, how are we going to convert business out of it? We're not doing this to have 18,000 people. We're doing that where 5,000 of them are real estate agents, and 13,000 people are never going back on this page because it's just way too much for them to see and look at. I mean, that's probably the reality. It's not like it's not like these groups are easy to sort by or search by. They're kind of a mess, which is also why I think the Boston Luxury Apartment Deal Finder page is a little unique. The 24 hours, you're only going to have X amount of posts in that time frame. So it's something you have to come back to regularly. This isn't something where it's floating out there for a week at a time. It's that kind of a strategy, a resource strategy where people are coming back for information, to position you as a resource so that they come back to you when it's time to do the transaction, and that you can market to them, hey, it's getting time, are you ready to think about it? Give me a call. You can do passive emails or instant messages to that group.
And I think this is an example of everybody going to the Facebook business page, and then, what they're not doing anything with it. And
Right.
now the next thing is, what are they going to do to, and when you have that many, 18,000, are they all realtors? It could be 18,000 realtors, for all you know. I mean,
Right.
what do you need that for?
But it also
It's good if
shows
you
you.
have property to unload.
Well, yes and no. I don't know if has anyone, some of you guys are members there. Have you ever posted ads in there?
No.
Okay. So you join the group, but you didn't post anything. So be interesting to know if you posted anything. Does it generate anything? Right? I've seen what I think the promise is. I see these very open-ended groups. Like here's 1,300 members, and that's kind of small actually. There's one that's like 50,000 by some internet company. I get the idea of what they were going, but I don't think they did anything to really Boston Apartment roommates and sublets. So there's 8,000 people in this one. They grow quick. See who's running this one.
Yeah, but
You know, but it gets back to if you're a member of this, is anything being done with
What's
it?
on his page? Can you scroll down? What's?
We can't see it because
Oh.
they're closed groups.
Oh,
That's the whole point, is you get the contact information as the admin of the page. As an admin and moderator, we get to see who the heck's a member.
oh, I see. So that's why they're.
So, but the question is, are you doing anything with it?
So it's kind of better to have them join the group than it is to leave it open.
Right, you want to have them join the group so you can capture
So
them.
that's where you want to close it and just do the admin.
Well, remember, you're taking that to a different place. There's the option in the group, go back to Dogs on D as an example. When I go to edit group
Yeah,
settings,
yeah.
if this is a closed group, you have public where anyone can see the group, its
Right.
members and their posts.
Yeah.
A closed group or a secret group. Secret means you can't see it. You can't search for it. Public group, anyone can read it. We're a closed group, but within the confines of a closed group, who's approving the membership? You got to be careful with with the details here, because a closed group still means you have to join. It's just a matter of, can anyone in the group allow you to join, or only
I gotcha.
admins and moderators?
I gotcha.
Can I just join the group? Can I allow you to join the group and invite you?
Yeah,
Or
it's-
if I invite you, does Kathleen still have to approve you?
Well, when anyone, if you leave it as anyone can approve, when someone asks to join the group, where does that request go?
It goes typically to what I've found so far is it goes to the person who invited them.
Okay, okay.
So I actually have a couple people who joined the Dogs on D group that were,
like things with Facebook info.
oh yeah, well, it's going to be a lot of learning to become proficient at this. The proof is in the money people are making.
No, I mean, it's the way to go. It's, you know, we've seen it change from Craigslist to now, online and.
Like, I'm a member of South Boston Community Bulletin Board, right? Okay, you're probably a member of that too, right? So where can I see what those settings are? 'Cause
You're not a moderator.
so I can't see the
No.
settings.
You have to be an admin or a moderator. You could see it in the You Can Buy group.
Okay.
So if you went to You Can Buy, you'd be able
I'll
to see it
get
under Edit Group
edit
Settings.
Okay.
Right. I think that covers it for what I wanted to cover. Boston Condo Exchange, just for a few minutes. Anyone have any input or ideas behind this? I'm trying to kind of hash out the strategy.
So is it an exchange for, say, someone has a summer sublet and it's a condo and they're going to be
It's
in
not-
France for
It's not
3
meant to be
months?
rentals.
1031 exchange.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought of that. It's,
No, this is how I see it. When you say that, I'm saying it's more like okay, I have 3 months open in the summertime. Can I condo exchange with someone 3 months in Switzerland?
No, the goal for this is to be a place where a buyer and a seller can go to find properties for sale by owner and buyers who are looking in certain neighborhoods.
Somebody wants to unload.
But so maybe the name is wrong.
The
but-
name is wrong.
Commercial.
So what would the name? So what's a name that strategizes that?
Had the Boston Buy Sell Unity Group. I don't know. Boston Buy Sell.
Why do you want to put buyers and sellers together?
Because chances of them being able to do a transaction without us are very small.
Yeah, well,
And quite frankly,
just interesting.
it gives us a huge group of people potentially that we know are going to be buying and selling. Who's going to be listing their condo for sale? A seller. And what are the chances they get the price that they want without someone involved?
The Boston,
Not great.
sorry, Boston Buy Sell Condo Connection.
Well, that's a mouthful.
Can you say that 5 times?
It's really the Boston Buy Sell Condo Connection. Or connecting
But I will say,
Boston Condo.
it'd be interesting to see what other people are doing with corporate housing or furnished rentals or things like that, and see if there isn't a marketplace for that. But that's a whole separate topic. The focus of this was someone joins the group and is not listing a place for sale. I know they're probably a buyer. Someone's joining the group and they list the place for sale, and I know they're a seller, and I can try and get them to list with us. And that's the focus. And if they do happen to come into a transaction together, chances are they probably need someone to get them
Boston
through the
off-market.
transaction. The off-market condo group or something like that.
Connection.
Play around with it. Hush
Boston
hush real
off-market.
estate.
Boston
Hush, hush
off-market
transactions.
condo connection.
That sounds a little kind of sketchy.
Not if you're a building, not if you're a guy that trades buildings.
I think you want to say buy a sell a connection and then somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Off-market
Boston condo.
connection. Off-market,
What kind of connection? Like
whatever you
connection,
want it to be. Make
Women,
it as vague
men,
as
men,
possible.
women. What kind of connection?
How about, that's actually, I like the idea of off-market because everyone's looking at the off-market deals. So like something like the Boston the condo off-market group or something like that.
Yeah, but off-market of what?
Off-market Boston.
Boston off-market condo group.
Does it have to be condo?
I kind of like the idea of kind of keeping it focused instead of saying single family, more because it keeps it targeted towards downtown.
Yeah.
Boston bespoke condo.
Off-market
exchange.
real estate.
Yeah.
Boston
Oh,
off-market
that's a
real
good
estate.
one. Did you hear Jules?
At FISBO.
Yeah.
Or the
We
fo-
all like. It's not. Look, it's not. That's me.
I think
Yeah, that's an easy thing. That's a small thing to add.
Yeah, the problem with having a for sale by owner concept is if I'm joining a group and it's for sale by owner, but it's realtors who are running it, that strikes me as a little sketchy. I wouldn't join that group. I mean, do you know what I mean? I would think that's just
Well, so
that's a duplicitous trick to get me in, and they're going to want. I mean, that's clear that that's the goal, right?
So when you go to join that group, the
Yeah.
only way you're gonna know is if you go in and you click on who the moderators are, and then you see, and then track down where they work.
Yeah,
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. I just think, for me, I just think that's just, it's duplicitous to advertise it as a for sale by owner when.
Hey, realtors are in contact them regardless.
Yeah, that's
You know,
true,
so-
yeah. I just think it wouldn't take long before someone on the group posts, this is a complete sham, this is run, but I just think you run the risk of that. That, to me, I think, you know. For me, I want my value added. I want to add value without having to do it in a shammy kind of way. Do you know what I mean? If I have to create value by being secretive or behind the scenes, then to me, then that's not the image I want to have.
I think you have to, I hear what you're saying, and I think it's something to be cautious of, but I don't think you have to necessarily approach it that way. And you're about, you know, you actually said that, and then I gave an answer, well, they wouldn't know, but actually, in your about page, you could say this is a platform for sale by owners. If you're having trouble, you know, we've given you a platform to connect, but if you're having trouble selling, feel free to give us a call. You know, and they can decide whether or not they want to get involved in that, but it's up to that, you know, it's giving them a social platform that if we can build up and through sponsored advertising and grouping, you know, you get people, you get a large enough audience. Do you care if it's run by a real estate agent? If it's given the opportunity to potentially market your for sale by owner.
This guy's out of the curve. This person's out of the curve. That's where you want to.
And one of the things I was thinking about doing with this is creating a transactional fee. So if you want an agent, you know, if you've got a direct sale but you want an agent to be part of it to help with the transactional service, in the negotiations and the documentations and getting things ready so that and connecting people with attorneys, we charge $5,000 or something like that. So they go in, they join that group, they know, hey, if I get in here, not only are they giving me the platform, but the upside to them or the sale to them, they understand as well. If I want them to be part of the transaction, they're offering the service for $5,000, which most of these condos are going to be selling. They would have $50,000, $60,000 commissions on them. So you sell that, and then really our job is just to help them draft the offers, and it becomes very administrative. We don't have to deal with marketing costs. It just becomes a quick source of revenue for people. So I definitely think it's how you approach it. If you try to trick people into it, you do run that risk. If you try and be open about it, you may not want to, but I think most people would look at it as an opportunity to. It's free advertising, right? If I'm a for sale by owner, I'm just looking for places to post free advertising. So some good feedback there. Anything else people come up with?
No, I mean, for something like that, what are the chances of, maybe, instead of focusing too much on the sellers, about the buyers that would possibly come in, should that attract some buyers as well? People that's looking to buy, obviously, it's to connect sellers and buyers. But
there's not a single damn group called Boston that
Oh,
deals
wait a
with
minute,
FISBO.
Boston Bourbon meets.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, hang on a second.
There's a bow hunters group too. It's even better.
Bows and bourbon.
So what was your question?
I mean, like,
Oh, the buyers.
yeah,
So that gets back to it. They join the group.
Yeah.
Part of the thought here is just keep in mind when someone joins your group and you're the admin or moderator, and this is not a function you have as a member. You only have it as a moderator. So if I go here, for example, I don't have the opportunity to message anybody because this is the 8th Street Dog Park. This is not a group that I'm an administrator of. But if I go to the Dogs on B, which I'm the admin of, I can send messages through internet through Facebook Messenger to those people.
Yeah.
So you can introduce yourself, and we start to create a form email. Maybe it's if you're looking to sell, well, this is what we can offer you. If you're looking to buy, you don't see it here. Blah blah blah. You come up, you craft the message to try to attract the buyers. And we can still post service menu. Part of it is we can still post service related posts like not seeing what you're looking for, give us a ring. Yeah. If you're looking to get set up with an MLS fee, give us a call, we'll set you up. So we can be the ones doing that and just prohibit anyone from actually posting listings or doing similar things. It's our service. So I think there's ways to approach it sensitively without, but also still creating value. But these are the same questions when you're looking at what group you're going to create that you need to be thinking of. So I think going through this as a group is kind of helpful. How do you name it so it's searchable and it's organically grown? I'm really shocked. I'm just curious if there's anything FISBO.
Mastermind.
This is a FISBO prospecting group.
Wow.
FISBO Real Estate's got 4,500 members. FISBO in Cleveland, 3,600 members. So there's been a few around the country. No one's really hit on it except maybe, or here's Fort Wayne rentals and FISBOs. They're decent. So, all right, any questions, guys? I gotta run to my next meeting.
No, can we just talk quickly about the Christmas party, and can we have it elsewhere besides the office?
I called Hops and Scotch. They never got back to me. They're closed until 4. I'm not even able to contact them after 4. So,
Kind of friends with the owner, yes. Not me, but Rebecca is my girlfriend.
give them a ring because they were supposed to call me back, and every time I call, they're closed.
They have a nice upstairs
Mhm.
area.
Well, I talked to them and they seem somewhat interested, but they don't open till 5 or open till 4 on weekdays.
So what were you trying to do?
3 to 5, 3 to 6, something like that. You could do 4 to 6. It doesn't. There'll be some flexibility there, but they.
Or was it the 12th?
13.
13th.
But the goal was for them to help bring a bunch of people into the place. So I was going to invite some. I was going to think about doing our party for like an hour and then inviting people to come at like 5 from the tenants.
Yeah.
And sort of giving them some marketing.
Yeah.
They give us some food or something, and maybe I can get Wintrust to pay for booze.
Can we have other people too, like Eastern Bank or somebody, or kind of?
Do you have someone in mind?
No, I thought didn't you know somebody in the bank?
I do know a lot of people at banks.
Oh, right.
But I don't know, but that would be the right fit for this.
Oh, all right. I'm just thinking of more advertising.
No, it was an opportunity to get
Sorry,
people, but have someone else pay for it.
We're trying to get someone else.
So the answer is no, I can't right now.